Hi friends, you are welcome in this video. Friends, we all know William Shakespeare, the most celebrated poet of English language, and we know him for his four black or dark tragedies called Hamlet, Macbeth, King Lear and Othello. Friends, William Shakespeare is also equally known for his love poems, short love poems, which are called sonnets, and he composed 154 sonnets. Friends, if we think about Shakespearean literature, we find there are 37 plays on his name, and these plays can be divided into tragedies, comedies, tragic comedies, and historical plays. He composed 154 sonnets, which are equally famous as the love poems, and again there are two long poems on his name called Venus and Adonis and the Rape of Lucrece. And friends, in this video we are going to discuss about Shakespeare's one of the most famous sonnets, sonnet number 130, My Mistress's Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun. So friends, in this sonnet he talks about the untraditional concept of love, and we are going to discuss all the aspects of these sonnets in detail. First, I will go through the stanzas and I will explain how this sonnet is beautiful and how this sonnet explains the Shakespearean concept of love. After reading this poem or after explaining stanza wise this poem, we will understand how Shakespeare was real in delineation of the very concept of love. So friends, let's start this poem and let's go through the stanzas. Here we have the very first stanza. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun? If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. Friend, this is the very first stanza, and in this stanza Shakespeare talks about his beloved, and this sonnet, as we have already discussed, is addressed to a dark lady, and he is talking about a dark lady who is his beloved. And in this stanza the very first line is that my mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Now he is comparing, or in a way we can say that he is uncomparing his mistress with the sun. If we think about this stanza is unconventional in the tradition of love poems or in the tradition of love sonnets, because here Shakespeare says that my mistress's eyes are not like the sun, and conventional poets have described or compared the very eyes of their beloved to the sun, and here he says that he is describing the various objects in the nature, and he is saying that these objects are different, and my mistress's eyes are not like the sun. Again he compares his mistress to the next objects. For example, we have coral, a precious stone, and he says that coral or the precious gem is much redder than the very lips of my mistress. So there is comparison between the lips of his mistress and the coral. Coral is a much redder gem, and he says that it is much redder than the lips of my mistress. Again he compares the hair of his mistress to the black wires, and he says that the mistress's hairs are not like golden wires, but they are black wires which are grew on her head. Now friends, if we analyze this stanza, we find that he is just uncomparing in a way, that he don't want to compare or he don't want to attribute the natural beauty or the objects in the nature to his mistress, and hence he is just going in the opposite way. So let's read the next stanza and understand what did he say about in the next stanza. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses I see in her cheeks, and in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress's reeks. Now friends, the comparison is continuous in this stanza, and again he is comparing or using different objects. For example, he is using the very red rose, and he is saying that the roses are much white and more red than the cheeks of my mistress, and the cheeks of my mistress are not like the red rose. He is saying that they are damasked. Damasked means that they are faint red, or they are faint pink but not complete red. Now in a way he is saying that she is what she is, and he is not emphasizing on the nature's beauty or on the objects which are described. If you think that in traditional love poems or in traditional sonnets, for example, we have Petrarchan sonnets and Italian sonnets. In those sonnets, we find that the beautiful ladies are compared with the natural objects, and they are given more stress on the beauty through these natural objects. But here Shakespeare just going in the opposite direction, and he is saying that these objects are not required to compare my mistress. My mistress is what she is, and I don't need any natural object, or I don't need any precious things to describe my mistress. And this is his emphasis, and he is just delineating, or he is just portraying the picture of his beloved as what she is. And it is his concern that he don't want to describe his mistress in some natural way or attributing some natural objects. He says that perfume is more delightful, but not the breath of my mistress. The breath of my mistress is natural, and I don't think that there is some delightful perfume, there is some delightful smell which is pleasant to my nose. But what she breathes is what she breathes, and there is nothing beyond that breathing. So this is the second stanza. We find that in the first and second stanza the same thought or the comparison is continuous, and he is going in the opposite direction from the traditional or conventional poets, and he is saying that these natural objects are natural objects, and these objects are not required to describe my beloved. So let's move to the next stanza and understand. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go, my mistress when she walks treads on the ground. Friends, again he talks about two things: that his mistress is not a goddess. Generally beautiful women are called as goddess, and they are called as the goddess from heavens, and they trade in the heaven, they walk in the sky. But the mistress of Shakespeare does not go in the sky, or does not walk in the sky, but she trades on the ground, she walks on the ground. And in this stanza he says that I love to speak to my mistress, I love to hear the sound of my mistress, but I am very sure, I am very confirmed that the sound of my mistress is not some different kind of sound or a beautiful sound more pleasant than the music. Music is pleasant than the sound of my mistress, and this is what I want to delineate here. This is what I want to reveal, the very nature of my mistress. And if we think about the very words he used in this sonnet, we find that he uses black wires, means the very mistress or the beloved he is talking in this sonnet is of black color, and she don't have the white skin, as he is saying that snow white. Her breasts are dun. He used the particular word dun, means a brown color or pale brown color. So her color is pale brown and not the white. So this is the comparison. We can say more specifically this is uncomparison, or he is uncomparing his beloved to these objects, and he's saying that my beloved is not like these objects. These objects are different, and my beloved is a human being, as he is saying in this third stanza or the third quatrain, that she treads on the ground and she did not walk in the sky, or she is not a goddess. So friends, this is his concept of love. So friend, this is the third stanza or third quatrain. Now let's move to the next stanza or a last couplet. Let me read it and then I will explain. And yet by heaven I think my love as rare as any she bellied with false compare. Now friends, Shakespeare has talked about natural objects and how these objects are used to describe the beautiful women or the beautiful beloved of poets. So friends, in this last couplet he talks about, though his beloved is not beautiful as the women described in love poems or as the women described in sonnet, but still he is satisfied with the the physical appearance of his beloved or physical appearance of his mistress, and he says that I don't want to compare her, or I don't want to falsely compare her with these natural objects which are used to beautify women, or which are used to delineate the beauty of the women. So here in this last stanza we find that the thought reached its culmination, and in this last two lines or last couplets he says that there is no need to compare his beloved or his mistress to the natural objects, and there is no need to say that his beloved is very beautiful like objects in the nature, beautiful objects in the nature, a red rose or white snow or the wires. There is no any need or no any requirement. If we think about this sonnet, we find that this is a sonnet which comes in the unconventional tradition, and here we find the unconventional concept of love described by Shakespeare in this sonnet. We find that many poets in Elizabethan period or the before Elizabethan period sonnets, and in these patriarchal sonnets we find that women are attributed with the natural things in the nature, and they have beautified with these natural things. But Shakespeare goes in the opposite direction, and he says that there is no any need or there is no any concern of these natural objects to describe his beloved. He loves his beloved as she is, and he is satisfied with the appearance or the physical stature of his beloved or his mistress. So friends, this is all about the summary and explanation of the sonnet My Mistress's Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun, which is 130 sonnet. Friends, now let's analyze this sonnet. Let's first know the structure of this sonnet. As we read this sonnet, we find that this is a typical Shakespearean sonnet. And in typical Shakespearean sonnet, we find that there are three stanzas which are called quatrains. A quatrain is comprised of 4-lined stanza, and a couplet. Last we find in this sonnet a couplet which comprised of 2 lines. The basic rhyming scheme of this sonnet is AB AB, CD CD, EF EF, and the last couplet comprised of GG. Again, if we think about the language used in this sonnet and diction used in this sonnet, we find that there is a very simple language and a comprehensive kind of diction used in this poem or short love poem, and we find that there is no any difficulty to understand the words, though there are a few words. For example, we find the word done, damasked, and reek. So these words are not traditional. We can say that these words are not routine words, but we find meaning in the context when we read this sonnet. Again, friends, we have different kinds of figures of speech used in this sonnet. For example, we have simile, we have metaphor, we have alliteration, assonance, antithesis, and some statements which reveal the concept of Shakespeare's love. So friends, again we have different types of poetic devices he used in this sonnet. We find that in some lines we do not have any pause, or the stanza is break with the semicolon, and he is emphasizing on the very untraditional concept of love through these poetic devices. Again, friends, we find that this poem is composed in iambic pentameter. Now an iamb is a meter in which we find first or one unstressed or short syllable followed by stressed or long syllable, and this pattern repeats for 5 times in the poem, and we find this pattern or iambic pentameter very prominently used or dominantly used in this poem. For example, we have lines 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 and 14. In these 10 lines we find iambic pentameter purely used. Again, friends, there is a good use of internal rhyming in this sonnet. If we analyze this sonnet, we get internal rhyming, which creates a kind of rhythm and which adds to the beauty of this sonnet. Again, friends, there is another significant thing that he uses the pronoun I and my for 11 times in these 14 lines or in these short poems, and we understand very clearly that he is emphasizing the relationship between I and my. Through the use of these pronouns, we understand that he is emphasizing the relationship between him and his beloved or his mistress, that how close this relationship is or how humanly bond there is between their relationship. And though these natural objects or the objects which beautify women are not important for Shakespeare, the significant thing for Shakespeare is his beloved, his mistress. Whatever she has, whatever she appears him, he is satisfied with that very appearance. And this is said through this use of pronouns, the close relationship between Shakespeare and his mistress. So friend, this is all about the sonnet. If you have anything to share with me, if you have any difficulty in understanding this sonnet, please comment below in the comment box. I will try to answer your queries. Friends, thank you very much for watching this complete video. Please like this video, share this video among your friends, and subscribe to Literature Simply, and also press the bell notification icon for updates on language and literature.